Welcome, welcome to 8 Minutes of College with your holistic college coach, Renee Bailey. I have a wonderful guest today. We're going to be talking about internships and basically starting your career from the time you are like a freshman in college. We're really excited about this. So let's go ahead and start off the conversation here. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, mystery guest?
Yeah. My name is Doug Klutz, and I have been a faculty member at the University of Alabama for going into 12 years now. And I kind of have a wide variety of roles at the University of Alabama. I teach a large selection of classes related to the internship director for the criminal justice department, and I am the academic advising director too. So I get to see students in a few different roles. I get to see them and interact with them in the classroom through my teaching. I also get to work with students in finding student internships and starting to build their professional career opportunities. And I also meet with them a lot throughout the semesters for academic advising and planning future coursework as well. So a few different roles, but I really enjoy them all. And it's rewarding to get to see students a lot of times come in as their first year with no work experience at all, gain their first internship experience, build that throughout college, and ultimately start in the entry level job that they want to.
Yeah, definitely. So tell me why internships and starting to build your career early is really crucial, especially for somebody like a first generation college student. Why is that so important?
Right. Well, research shows these days that about 80% of all jobs come through networking. And I always tell students the best way to network while you're in school is to complete an internship, because you're getting to meet people that are in the field doing what you want to be doing. You're building that network base. You're also seeing to make sure that you actually like that job role, because I've had it work a couple different ways with students. I've had some students that think they're dead set on a career path, and maybe it's based off of a really popular TV show that they're watching at the time and they really enjoy. And so they say, I really want to work in this role that I see on TV. But then when they actually go complete the internship, it's something completely different, and they say, oh, this isn't actually what I thought it was when I signed up for it. I've also had it work the other way too, where students really set on a career path, they go and complete an internship, and that solidifies their interest. And they say, I really know now that this is what I want to pursue. So internships, not only are they a great networking tool, they're also a great vetting mechanism or screening mechanism to make sure that you actually want to be working in that type of career role.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, when we talked a little bit before this recording, we talked about the CSI effect and things like that. A lot of people are like watching TV shows like even Emily in Paris, and they're like, oh, I want to be in marketing or whatever it is. And when they actually get into it, they realize it's not quite as glamorous as they thought it was. So it's a good introduction into what they think they like and making sure that they really like it.
Right.
Is it
Exactly.
wonderful? Yeah, I think that's the best advice you can give to somebody is to not only network, because that gives you the opportunity to know so many people in the fields before you even get in fully into the field, and like testing the waters is a wonderful thing. So what what's the one thing that you feel first gen students kind of miss in terms of internships? Because I know that as a first gen student, when I got into college, I heard about internships. You kind of like hear the word, you know kind of what it is, um, but you don't necessarily know how to get one, and you don't necessarily know what the advantages are of it. Other than maybe you hear that like internships get you a good job after you graduate. But what do you think the big thing about internships that first gen students misses?
I think getting involved as much as possible on campus, and trying to feel as comfortable as possible on campus in terms of networking with your career center, knowing about those resources. A lot of times I have students come to me all different years in their educational degree program, and they won't even be aware of certain resources that like the Career Center has available. Or for example, if your academic department has an internship director or internship type class, they might not even be aware of those type of opportunities. So what I always recommend for students at a really early point in their educational track is to make sure that you're getting involved not only within your own department and getting to meet those people like an undergraduate director or like an advising director or internship director. Make sure that you schedule meetings with them to see about what types of opportunities are available, but also utilize those resources on campus, like what they call get on board days, where you can join professional student organizations. You can meet like-minded people that are interested in your specific field or that area that you're wanting to pursue more. Make sure you utilize all the resources that the career centers have, and just knowing about all those different possibilities from an early point in your educational degree.
And how do you recommend people find out what they have specifically available to their campus? And is it something as simple as Googling, or where do you look for things like that?
I would suggest starting within your own department. I think starting with an academic advisor, or depending on what your school actually calls that position, but whoever is in charge of advising within your department, or if it's a smaller school, maybe it's like arts and sciences collectively, for example, in terms of the whole school. But meeting with those advisors, that's a good entry step, because I meet with students for advising all the time that have questions just like the one that you were asking in terms of how to get better involved in campus. What are some different resources out there? Like I just had a student that came to my office this past week that was interested in law school, and she wasn't really aware of the different resources that are out there. And we talked about, like, for example, the pre-law society on our campus, where students can not only network with law schools, prospective law schools, but also take practice LSAT test, LSAT prep, and just those types of free resources that are available for students really can save a lot of money, time, and stress in the end.
Yeah, there are a lot of clubs on campus, especially for big fields like law and pre-med that you can get into, and that really give you some good resources as far as that's concerned. So I definitely encourage that as well. That's a wonderful idea. And talking to your advisors is such a necessary thing. When I was in college, I did talk to my advisor about my classes, but I would never have thought to talk about career advice and asking what the career center could do or anything like that. So again, really awesome advice that you're giving there. I think that's important for a lot of first gens to realize that you do have the option to kind of give your career a boost before you even really get into it, if you use the resources that are at the college that you're at.
Right. Start early. Don't wait until you're the end of your senior year to start trying to network within the campus. The earlier you can start building those networks, the better in terms of your higher education degree plan.
So would you definitely suggest that somebody who's a freshman start looking at the career center and getting in touch with them?
Yeah, so one of my main classes that I teach is an intro to criminal justice, and I have a lot of first year students in there, and they always ask me, like, when should I start getting involved in campus, or when should I start looking for internships? And I always tell them as soon as possible. You know, the earlier the better. The earlier you can start building those networks, the better, because you're going to meet more people in your field. You're going to be able to get more experience on your resume before you graduate. So yeah, some internships will say you have to be a junior or senior in class standing in order to apply, but that's okay. You can always find different opportunities that don't have those types of limitations or restrictions on them. They're out there. I have a lot of first year students who complete internships in the field, and they start building that experience from an early age.
And the interesting thing about what you just brought up too is, if you are looking at those opportunities, those internships that require you to be junior senior status, if you've gone ahead and done the work and done other internships that don't have that, then you're in a better standing when you go to apply for those.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The more experience you have, because a lot of times internships look for previous experience as well. So it's not just like, you can apply for an internship and they're just going to treat everyone on the same playing field in terms of they're looking for applicants that have that type of previous experience, whatever role that might be. If it's a legal internship, they might want their applicants to have previous legal experience. And so the more that you can build that experience along the way, especially for the more competitive internships, the better you'll stand out.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So the other thing that I was wondering about is the idea of like, how do you make yourself stand out? And that's part of it too, is having that you, because a lot of students will fall into that catch-22. I need the experience to get the internship or job, but how do you stand out if you're a little bit behind in that? How do you do that? Is there still opportunity available to you if you're listening to this and you're like a sophomore and you're like, oh no, I haven't really been doing anything?
Yeah, I would look into your specific field that you're interested in applying for and see what types of really marketable skill sets they're looking for. And I'll give you an example. So the FBI is a tremendously popular internship and career path for our criminal justice related students. And the FBI is extremely competitive. Just for their special agent positions alone, they average almost 70,000 applications every single year. For their internship position alone, they average thousands of applications a year. So you really have to, it's a numbers game, and you have to think, how am I going to make myself stand out? So for the FBI, as a specific example, they've really been looking for cybersecurity skills recently within the past few years, and specific foreign language skills. They have a list of critical foreign languages that they're looking for on their website. So if you can be proficient in one or both of those areas that they're really looking for, between the cybersecurity experience and the foreign language experience, then you're really going to stand out in terms of competing for those limited internship spots or entry-level job opportunities. So find out those specific skill sets that either your internship or your entry-level career path they're looking for, and try to build those before you actually obviously start applying for those positions.
All right, that's a great advice. And one of the last questions I have here for you, because I'm sure we'll have tons more coming in, but the last question I have for you right now is, tell me a bit about the resources that you've seen out there that are available for students who are looking for internships, both paid and unpaid.
Yeah, the one of the main hurdles that I find that students encounter is, like you mentioned, just being able to find those internships and not looking necessarily in the right places, or not knowing where to look at all. So some of my favorite kind of general internship resources, as well as entry level job resources, Indeed.com is one of my favorites. There are many opportunities posted there every single day, and you can really hone in your search based off of the specific job titles or internship titles that you're looking for, as well as the geographical area that you want to try to be as specific as possible if you do want that specificity. That's kind of another topic where I try to recommend, especially when you're starting out in the field, to have as much geographical flexibility as possible. The more expansive you can be in your search, it makes your time easier just getting that entry level position. But I really like Indeed. I like LinkedIn. I think that students, they tend to have a pretty heavy social media presence, but it's not necessarily always on the right social media channels, necessarily what employers are looking for. Some use it effectively, some maybe not so effectively, but I always tell students that LinkedIn is a great professional networking tool, not only to have that professional profile online, get a professional headshot online where employers, when they search for your name, they can easily find that image, but also a lot of different internship and job opportunities posted on LinkedIn as well. I like Glassdoor.com for looking kind of internally. Maybe it's some insight in terms of not only job and internship postings within different companies and organizations, but also to get some intel about maybe their interview process, what it's like to work in that company. I think that's a great resource. And then if you are looking for federal jobs specifically, you need to go to usajobs.gov, and the Pathways program that the federal government has created over the past few years, that is specifically targeting current college students and recent college graduates within 2 years of the graduation date. So that is a great resource to find not only internships, but also those entry-level jobs where you're not competing against people that have 5, 10 years of work experience.
Wonderful. I love the fact that you mentioned USA Jobs, because that is one thing that I would never have thought of when I was in college as a resource for internships, which, and who knew, like, the government has this whole wonderful program about internships and providing resources and opportunity for recent and current college students. That's fabulous. So that's another reason why you need to go through your career office too, because you're going to hear about these kind of things as well. And I so appreciate you coming on and providing this for us and telling us more about this whole thing. I would love at some point to have you come back and let go more in depth in it. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love to invite you back again on the
Sure. Yeah.
podcast. Yeah.
Well, I'd love to be
That
back.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So we'll have to arrange that. But yeah, no, this is fabulous. So thank you so much for all the information. This has been your 8 minutes of college. Really appreciate you listening in. It's my wonderful conversation with Mr. Doug Klutz, and I really, really appreciate him being here and giving us all this information. Uh, Doug, do you want to give anybody some information about how to follow you on social media? Maybe do you have any social media links?
Yeah, people can reach out to me on Twitter at Douglas Klutz, and also I'm on LinkedIn. I have a lot of different internship opportunities, and as well as job opportunities in all different fields. Employers email these to me and they say, hey, if you ever have any students interested, and I post those both on Twitter and on LinkedIn. So feel free to connect with me on those platforms.
Wonderful. Again, this has been your 8 minutes of college. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. There it is. Okay.